Hello, gang. We are tying up some loose technical ends, and we will begin our Facebook live stream momentarily on now Hurricane Francine. Upgraded this evening a result of Hurricane Hunter aircraft data. They found a flight level wind at 76 knots, and usually that mixes down at around an 75 to 85% ratio. So they were able to bump the intensity up to 65 knots, which is now a hurricane. We're seeing quite a bit of thunderstorm activity near the center of circulation. That, too, is a telltale giveaway that we have sort of a strengthening scenario on our hands here. So that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. And we have that happening. Now, Hurricane Francine. The overall forecast reasoning, quite frankly, really hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot. This is going to be mainly for Alabama, a big mess of rain rather than a Hurricane Zeta type monster hurricane, just so you know. We'll get you there, though. All right. With no further ado, let's dive into this whole thing. As always, I'm your pal, Josh Johnson. It is nice to be with you on this beautiful evening, this calm, summer-like evening. We'll adjust the camera a little bit there. So we're here tonight, obviously, to talk about Francine, how it will impact Alabama, where and when it will impact you. So with no further ado, let's dive into the data, shall we? So the satellite presentation of the storm starting to get a little more put together. We're seeing some big, what we call central dense overcast, big storm towers firing around the center of circulation. That is a telltale giveaway of a storm that is starting to strengthen. Let's see here. My frame is hitting the volume button up there, and it just keeps going crazy, saying, "Hey, wait, what are you doing?" There is no volume. There we go. All right, pardon the technical snafu, if you will. So I'll begin with a look at the satellite imagery of the storm. Told you about that. There you can see, whoa, that is some more zoom. Big clusters there firing around the center of circulation now. So we'll go into the loop here and show you kind of a high-res image on this whole thing. Might be quickest to give you the animated GIF, honestly. So we'll dive into that. This is all using GOES East, one of the big expensive weather satellites. So while we wait on it to load, this is the updated cone out from the National Hurricane Center. This is fresh as of 9 minutes from now. Look at that. It's the official 10 p.m. advisory. No change, really. Forecast reasoning on this hasn't changed much. This will make landfall as a hurricane somewhere near Morgan City, Louisiana, and then from there head up into central Mississippi. Now, I'm going to show you some data that suggests a little more of an eastward jog, and that's been the trend in this whole thing, quite frankly. Here we are with watches and warnings. Notice you've got the center of circulation right down here. Just about due east of Brownsville, Texas now. A host of hurricane warnings, hurricane watches, tropical storm watches and warnings, inland watches and warnings, filtering on in here. This map you're seeing here, by the way, is available on the WSFA First Alert Weather app. So you can see it there as well. So there's the cone again. Let me show you this. This is the high-res rapid refresh scenario, latest one from them. We'll go hour by hour here. So scattered rain gets going tomorrow morning, late morning in far south Alabama. This is valid at 11 a.m. And then from there, what we see happen here is it just sort of fills in. So into the evening especially, widespread heavy rain later in the day, and especially on into Wednesday night. That's when we'll really start to see the rain come down in sheets. Light initially, but then becoming heavier. So the other thing we're going to be watching would be see these storms right down here from Pensacola, back up into northern Baldwin County, Choctaw County, Clark County, Washington County. This is valid at 2 a.m. Any of these storms would be capable of producing some rotation. Now, the highest risk of that would be along the Florida Panhandle and the immediate Gulf Coast. But some of that risk could spill over into parts of South Alabama. You can see by 5 a.m. Thursday, the center is now south of Hattiesburg. This is a little farther east than the National Hurricane Center has it, by the way. And then the center actually moves just west of the Alabama-Mississippi border through Thursday morning. So these storms on the east and southeast side would be the ones capable of producing isolated tornadoes. So that's the concern there, would be these isolated tornadoes popping. But I think particularly once you get into the afternoon, right? The models, the short-range models are almost consistent, almost unanimous in suggesting that we would see this batch of storms fire that will be oriented from northwest to southeast, running essentially from Tuscaloosa to Montgomery to Dothan, and then that will lift northeast through the rest of the day. See it happen? That lifts northeast by 6 o'clock. Most of it's out of the area. By 7 o'clock, it really weakens. That's the end of the computer model run. Now, investigating the atmosphere near these storms, maybe having problems with the old soundings. Okay, so you've got a pretty saturated low level, right? Obviously, this is a tropical situation. That's not unusual to have a very saturated low level. That means your liquid condensation level heights, your LCL, your LFC heights are going to be very low. There's also a ton of wind shear. Now, there's not a lot of lift in the atmosphere, which may tend to mitigate the tornado threat. It's not going to eliminate it, but it may tend to mitigate it, or at the very least reduce it somewhat. So that would be good news. But remember, a mitigated threat is not the same thing as no threat. So you would need to stay weather aware regardless. Primarily in South Alabama Wednesday night, and then for the rest of Central Alabama, it's really more of a Thursday tornado scenario. The other thing I'll show you here, rainfall totals. The good news, we got a couple of pieces of good news on rainfall here. We are going to be able to maybe bump the totals down somewhat. Dry air will get entrained into the circulation of Francine as it makes landfall. That's thing one that happens. Thing two is it's a fast mover, right? So watch the data here with me. This is total rainfall, and this suggests a general 2 to 4 inches for a lot of South Alabama. But notice there's a lot of places, I don't know if you can see the cursor there, the purple, that's all under 2 inches. So we'll call it 2 to 4, but understand parts of north central, central and east Alabama will probably see less than that. Farther east you live, the less rain you see in this sort of scenario. So just a little food for thought here on the rainfall total. So to summarize the whole thing, we will start to deal with on and off waves of rain and thunderstorms as early as Wednesday afternoon, but more so Wednesday night. That initial wave of storms could produce isolated tornadoes in mainly far south and southwest Alabama. I'm talking Houston, Geneva, Covington, Conecuh, Escambia, Mobile, Baldwin, Choctaw, Clark, maybe Washington counties. Again, that's Wednesday night. Then Thursday during the day, it lifts northeast. So that's when we could see an isolated tornado threat materialize into more of central Alabama. That threat will likely exit our eastern counties sometime in the vicinity of 6 o'clock Thursday evening, and then life gets a lot better afterwards. So a lot to unpack here. I understand that. It's not one size fits all. Let's pop in and see if we can see any questions here. Josh checking in from Pensacola. Hey, Parker. You guys batten down the hatches down there. Lots of rain in Pensacola out of this one. We'll go full screen as we answer the questions here. Usual question, winds and mobile homes. Should I go ahead and plan to leave for the day night on Wednesday and Thursday? Kristen, I would not personally. The wind with this system will mainly be a Louisiana and Mississippi problem. We do not expect strong hurricane or even tropical storm force sustained winds here in central Alabama. The far western counties will have a little gustier wind, but the main concern here for us is isolated tornadoes. And those would be isolated enough. Personally, I wouldn't leave the mobile home. I would be ready to leave it. I would stay on my toes and stay weather aware, but I personally wouldn't leave. Will Thursday be a total washout? No, probably not. It will be a kind of scattered shower and storm scenario. Particularly Thursday, I think there will be vast stretches of Thursday that are completely dry. So it's not a total washout. But when it rains, it could rain really hard. So there you go. All right, hey gang, I'm gonna wind this thing down. I appreciate all of you as always for hanging out on Facebook with us this evening. We'll do more of these throughout the day tomorrow. And if you're near a television or a place where you can stream, check out WSFA 12 News at 10. We're going to show you the preparations that are being made across the region as Francine approaches. I'll show you the 3 big impacts we're looking at here locally, and we'll dive headfirst into timing for every county in our area. We'll go county by county, hour by hour, everything you need to know. That's coming up in a matter of seconds. Think about a minute and a half now on WSFA 12 News at 10. You can watch it on regular television, or you can stream it anywhere you can stream things. We have apps everywhere. You can even watch it on the WSFA First Alert weather app. You open up the weather app, scroll to the bottom, click Watch Live, and there you go. All right, everyone, thanks so much for hanging out.